Oh, yum. Well, greetings, people of the internet. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, it's not another video about QNAP, I promise. Today's a video about Unraid. But, Unky Joe, you're saying to yourself, I thought we'd covered everything we could about a NAS, whether it be Synology or QNAP or Unraid. Well, you'd be wrong. Because today we're going to tell you the few changes I've made to my Unraid server and my plans for the future. So let's roll the intro and we'll get started right after that. So it's Monday. It's the first week of April here. Oh, I'm sorry, May. Damn, I'm caught in April. And I got spring fever when it comes to going outside and playing in the yard again and planting flowers and trees and shrubs. And so we've been doing a lot of that, and we're on a mission to get that pool ready so we can go have a nice little swim in it as well. Because that's the reward for all the hard work you do in the yard. And I've managed to find, I think, someone to take care of our yard for the summer. That is the side and the backyard, because it's just too much for me to keep up with. But anyway, I digress. The video today is about Unraid and some upgrades I've made to it. So if you've been following along with this series of videos, you'll know how fond I am of Unraid. If I didn't believe in their product, I wouldn't be making videos about them. Up to this point, I've had this unit full of 2 terabyte drives. I have a 4-bay hot swappable drive tray in this 4U unit. And it is still running the Z77DS3H motherboard and a third generation i7 3770 processor, I believe, with 24 gig of RAM. But today what I wanted to do was I wanted to put a larger Parity drive in there from 2 gig to 4 gig. And then in addition to that, I want to change out one of the data drives to another 4 terabyte drive, I should say. So I want to increase my storage and I want to increase my Parity. And that's the way Unraid works. So if your Parity drive has to be the largest drive in the array. So if you're going to put 8 terabyte drives, and you've got to have an 8 terabyte Parity drive. Right now I only have a 2 terabyte, so I'm going to bump that up to 4, and then I've got some other 4 terabyte drives that I'm going to be slowly adding. So I thought I'd take you along with me on that process today. So let's go get those drives changed out right now. So there is the new Seagate, well, new to Unraid Seagate 4 terabyte drive. So I'm doing the Parity drive first. And then I've got another 4 terabyte Seagate drive that I'm going to put in to the RAID array. But if you look here on the disk information, you'll see we got a couple of ECC errors and UDMA CRC errors. So I don't know if those are something I need to be concerned about. Of course, time will tell. But it all says, looky here, pre-fail, old age, pre-fail. So, yeah, it looks like I'm not depending on these drives for longevity. I'm just kind of using them for archival storage. So, in the long run, I'll probably have to replace these with some better drives. But for now, they should be okay. So we'll just let the Parity go. It's been running a few hours. It's got another 5 hours and 37 minutes. And then I'm going to replace one of the data drives. Basically, all I did was turn off the array, shut down the machine, and then replace the Parity drive. Took out the 2 terabyte, put the 4 terabyte in there. Let's look at these other drives. Let's see if they're... Yeah, see, pre-fail, old age. They've got some CRC errors on them. Let's see, disk 2. That one seems to be in pretty good shape. And disk 3, that one's got some UDMA CRC errors as well. So, we'll just keep an eye on them. These drives are old. They've been up, like this one says 5 years, 19 days, 23 hours. Let's see how long this one's been up. This one's been up 1 year, 9 months and 18 days. That's my Parity drive. Disk 1 has been up 3 years, 11 months, 28 days, and 7 hours. Disk 2 has been up 4 years, 2 months, 20 days. So these are old drives. These 2 terabyte drives, I believe, are the ones I started my channel with, so they've been around quite a while. Anyway, so basically all I did was, like I said, I took out the 2 terabyte drive, put in a 4 terabyte drive, brought Unraid back up, and then when it said the Parity drive was missing, I basically went in and assigned another drive to Parity and restarted the array, and it started the rebuild in the background. So the next thing I've done now is I've replaced the 2 terabyte drive that was in as disk 1 with a new used 4 terabyte drive, increasing my total storage space now up to 8 terabyte, 4 plus 4. Now I have some more 4 terabyte drives I'll be moving over to here as well once I start getting all my data moved around. But the idea behind this Unraid server, like I say, is it's going to be archival storage. Now let's see if I have any errors on that drive. So that's a Seagate 4 terabyte drive. I know there's nothing under there that is indicating predictive failure. However, on the Parity drive, I do have the 187 and the 199 error, and we're going to cover what those errors mean here in a minute or two. But here is the Unraid version 6.9.2. It is still running on the Gigabyte Z77DS3H with an Intel Core i7-3770 CPU. So 4 cores, 4 threads, 24 gig of RAM, because that's all I could afford. I've got a couple of VMs set up on there, and I'm going to show you those in a minute as well. But let's talk about what's going to happen with this Unraid server, because I want you to see what my plans are for it. Now, the plans for upgrading my Unraid server, because it's time, I'm on a 3rd generation i7 processor. So I'm looking at a couple of different options as far as the way to go. The cheap way to go is to get an i5 10400 2.9 gigahertz 6 core. That'll give you 6 core 12 threads processor. Pairing that with a, at least I think that's a 12 thread. Yeah, 6 core 12 threads. So we're good there. So that'll give me a lot of power for virtualization. All right. Then I'm looking at going with this Gigabyte motherboard right here. The B460M DS3H. Well, actually, I'm not now. Now that I see that board, it only has 1 PCI Express slot. I want 2 PCI Express slots. So let's go look. Let's see if there's another motherboard I could pick that would be better. I know I want a Gigabyte. Let's see, let's sort by price. Maybe it was the H470M DS3H is the one I wanted. Yeah, that's the one I wanted. Okay. So I need to edit the parts list. So let me go to the... It's not intuitive how to do this, but let's go to edit the parts list. And for the motherboard, we're going to change that to the H470 MDS3H. There we go. And then we'll save as my i5 Unraid. So there you go. So now we're going to go with this board. And as you can see, it clearly has 2 PCI Express slots. The reason I'm going with Intel is because it has a built-in GPU. So I'll get the built-in GPU for Unraid. Then I'll be able to put an added video card to pass through to a Windows or a Linux virtual machine. And then I could actually put in a second video card if I wanted to, or a 10 gig network card to get 10 gig networking speed, which is probably what I'll end up doing. That's the way I have the current one configured. So with that being the case, that would, and with the RAM, I'm going to get 16 gig. That's right now. Right now I'm not buying anything. I'm waiting to see if PC prices come down. But going that route with the i5 would be $429.97. Now, the Cadillac version of that, or the Lexus version of that, or whatever you want to call it, I would go with the Intel Core i7 10,700 processor. I really don't need that much power, and you can see it's $100, $120 more expensive than the i5. And then I was looking at this. I really like the Z490 motherboard from Gigabyte. It's just a nice, really nice looking board. I could even use this with my i5 build. To be honest with you, it's just a little bit more expensive. It is a much nicer looking board, but you know, I will never be seeing this board. It'll be tucked away inside of a computer case. So really, I guess what's the point? Well, let's just do 2x16, see what happens here. Let's see. So there's the whip jaws. Is there a 2400? I don't even see a 2400. See a 3600 to 3000. Interesting. Yeah, I'd probably go with the 216s. Speed is not of the essence there. I could go with the faster RAM, DDR4 3200, the V series. I don't need RGB RAM. Let's add this. Let's add the slightly faster RAM and get rid of this one. And then let's save that as the i7. Oh, wait a minute. No, I did that wrong. Save as the i5. So yeah, we'd be looking at 436.97. I screwed up my i7 build. Let me fix that. I go back and do an i7. There we go. 10. I don't want the K series. Yeah, we'll do this one. Okay. And I don't want this motherboard. I wanted the Gigabyte Vision G. Right? And then we'll go ahead and change out the RAM on here. So that's 32. Yeah, it's very, very good. Okay, cool. So we'll save that as my i7 Intel. So that's 651.97 versus 436.97. And I really don't need that powerful processor. Now, that motherboard is an additional $100. And, you know, frankly, it's not going to be in a case that can be seen. So why spend the money? So I've got some decisions to make. But you're seeing that's the kind of coin I'll need to drop to upgrade that Unraid server. So I created 2 Windows 10 virtual machines on here. And keep in mind, Unraid is a work in progress. It's always a work in progress here at Unky Joe's Playhouse. One of them I did is Windows 10 2004, and the other one is Windows 10 20-H2. And these are, I do not have the video card pass through on these yet. I'm just using the I'm using the VNC graphics. As you can see, I can pass through the AMD Radeon or the Intel graphics controller, either one. But I haven't played with that yet. I wanted to get the virtual machines created so that I knew how to do things like CPU pinning and how to back up a virtual machine settings before I went and made any changes to it and ruined a virtual machine. So those are all set up and ready to go. They are working. In fact, let me bring one of them up here. Go ahead and start it. I want to make sure it works. And let me switch over to the left monitor, and there you go. It is working. I can log in. I've got all the drivers loaded. The video drivers, the guest drivers, everything's working. Of course, Windows needs to be activated, but I'll ignore it if you will, because it's a work in progress. So there you can see it's a i7 3770. All my devices are set up. I've given this unit 4 cores, 4 threads, I believe. Yeah, 4 cores. I've given it 4 gig of RAM, and I've given it a 50 gig hard drive, which is enough for now. And it's up and running, and it's doing just fine. And everything's working on it. And Unraid is now physically in the rack as well. And yeah, it's in the rack. So it's a rack server. It's in that 4U case. And I've been copying data to it. I've created a media share on here, which is where I store the movies. And I've got Unky Joe's Playhouse on there, some videos from Unky Joe's Playhouse as my archival storage. And I've got the SSD drive in there. I believe it's a Samsung 250 Evo. Yeah, it's a 250 Evo. And that serves as my cache drive and where I run my virtual machines. And I don't have any Docker containers right now. Plugins are working well. My apps are working. Right now I'm connected up via the 10 gig networking adapter. And as you can see here, I do have the gigabit, and then I have the 10 gig Mellanox card in here, and it is connected up with a DAC cable. So I do have my 10 gig connection on here as well as my 1 gig. And so now that it's assembled and I've got it semi-permanently put in here, and I'm done messing with this motherboard and moving things out until I decide to upgrade it. Yeah, it's running well. It's only been up 8 hours, 19 minutes, but I'm going to be bringing that down here soon because I don't need it running, using up energy while I'm not using it. I've already moved my storage on there, my archival storage, and I'm going to bring it back up again when I'm ready to add some more 4 terabyte drives to it. But for now, this is Unraid in its current form. I'm very happy with it, and I want to thank the folks at Unraid. They upgraded me to an Unraid OS Pro at no additional charge. These are my own opinions, and yeah, Unraid is a very nice operating system, very, very nice to use, and I might actually get another 4-bay drive bay to go in here to play with pooled drives as array of, in addition to array devices to play with, just to see how much more flexibility it gives us with pool devices. But for now, this is the way I've got my Unraid set up and running. I'm very happy with its performance. And again, one of the things you need to be aware of under disk settings is make sure you turn on Reconstruct Write on your array, or you're going to get abysmally slow network transfer speeds. When I transfer data to my Unraid, I'm getting 100 megabytes per second. So all is well with the world. Now, according to according to Acronis Drive Manager, I looked this up on Google, and error 187, it tells you the hard drives that support this attribute, and of course one of them is Seagate. Reported uncorrectable errors. Smart parameter indicates a number of errors that could not be recovered using hardware ECC error correcting code. Although this parameter is not considered critical by most hardware vendors, degradation of this parameter may indicate electromechanical problems of the disk. Regular backup is recommended if no other critical parameters report a problem. Hardware replacement is recommended on mission-critical systems only. So, not a real big concern. Now, some people are going to disagree with me and say any errors, smart errors, are indicating the drive is failing, and I would not disagree with that. You may not trust your data to it, but I'm not worried about it. This is archival storage. Now, the other error message I'm getting is error attribute 199. Again, Ultra DMA CRC error account. Smart parameters indicate the total quantity of CRC errors, usually during Ultra DMA mode. The raw value of this attribute indicates the number of errors during data transfer in Ultra DMA mode by ICRC, Interface CRC. This parameter is considered informational by most hardware vendors, although degradation of this parameter can be an indicator of drive aging and or potential electromechanical problems. Say that 5 times fast. It does not directly indicate imminent drive failure. Regular backup is recommended. Pay closer attention to the other parameters and overall drive health. And that's the same thing about smart errors. You can let them freak you out, or you can do a little research on them and determine whether they're that critical or not. And keep in mind, this is archival storage, and it is in its own RAID array, Unraid array. So this is backup data. But if you're that concerned about any smart errors, then I would suggest you replace the drive. Me, I'm not going to worry about it. So there you go. Drives are installed, and you've seen my plans for the future. Now, I could build, and keep in mind, I have done a Ryzen build of Unraid. But it's been my experience, and this is no fault of Unraid whatsoever, but the Ryzen series is still kind of new. The motherboard manufacturers are still getting the kinks worked out of the BIOS. And besides, I've done so many videos with Ryzen processors, I want to give Intel another chance, the next generation. Well, it's a previous generation. I'm doing the 10th gen Intel and not the 11th gen. But other people are doing videos about using Unraid on a Ryzen processor, so I want to base mine on an Intel just for, shits and giggles and general purposes to see how it does. So I'll be using the same case I'm using now, same power supply, but I will be putting that one of those 2 gigabyte motherboards in there, probably the cheaper one, knowing me. I am going to go ahead and get 32 gig of RAM because the price differential between 16 and 32 is like $10. You saw it on my PC parts picker list. Parts picker list. So that's probably the way I'm going to go. Now, but Unky Joe, you have Synology NAS, you have this NAS, you have that NAS. Yeah, but I really like Unraid. The one downfall I have with Unraid is no snapshots. Okay, but Unraid, like I said, is really a tinkerer's paradise. If you want to play around with virtual machines and Docker containers and all kinds of add-ons and software pieces and virtualization, and you like to mess with stuff and change it and fix what you broke, then Unraid is for you. A lot of people use Unraid as their daily driver as well. I also want to try running Plex on Unraid, something I haven't done with a modern processor, to see if it's actually better. I'm always touting for people, if you're going to run Plex, run it under Windows. So I want to see for myself if the performance is any better with a modern processor using the Intel QuickSync graphics built into that i5 10th gen processor. And then it will still play with some video passer and that kind of thing. But like I said, I've got Patreon. It's been a good month on Patreon. Thank you to all my Patreon subscribers and all the other people that have suffered through ads on YouTube and whatnot, and people and subscribers, because you've made it possible for me to go ahead and get the motherboard and the CPU and the RAM. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. So now, a lot of you have heard me talk about my Unraid server, and right now my Unraid server is in pieces on the workbench, and I've got a video coming out on that, something I discovered with my Antec power supplies as well. But this was the board I purchased back when the Ryzen, the new Ryzen 3600 series of processors came out. I thought incorrectly that I would need an X570 motherboard with an X570 chipset in order to run that new processor. I did not. I have no need for 4th gen PCI Express or PCI Express Gen 4. So this is a lightly used, this board's been used about 3 months. I'm getting ready to put it on eBay, but I would prefer to sell it to a subscriber, to somebody who wants it. So it's the Prime X570p. I've got all the pieces to it. I've got the back plane. I've got the motherboard manual. It's in the original box. It's been flashed to the current latest BIOS. It works with both the Ryzen 5 2600 and 3000 series processors. It's got the AuraSync. You know, this board usually retails for about $199. Make me an offer. UnkyJoe'sPlayhouse@gmail.com. I will consider all valid offers. I would prefer to sell this to a subscriber or a Patreon person who needs this. I can't afford to give this away because this is going to help fund the new Unraid build for the Intel motherboard and the Intel processor. So I'd rather not put it on eBay if I don't have to. And if somebody on here gives me a good price for it, I'll ship it for free. So that'll save us both the hassle of eBay and the hassle of shipping through eBay as well. So if anybody's interested in this, drop me a line, Unky Joe's, UNKY, Joe's Playhouse at gmail.com. My email is also on the About page on my YouTube channel for more information. Send me an offer, and good luck. So there you go, people of the internet. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative. As always, please give us a thumbs up down below if you liked it. Leave your comments in the comments section. Donate if you're so inclined. PayPal, Patreon, YouTube join function. And remember, even the smallest donation, even $1 goes a long way to help keeping this channel up and running and for us to provide great content to you. Come and see us on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Normally, we live stream every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time. We'd love to see you there. We always have a lot of fun on that live stream. Thanks for joining us. And please don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.